Hello. Welcome to the Eddie Conversation Podcast. My name is Eddie Vigil, and I am your host. This is episode number 75. Joining me today is Luna Tieu.
Hi. Hey, Eddie.
Yes, hello. Thanks for letting me into your space and having me over here.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad we're able to do this today.
Yeah, so it's we
Flying
are
by the seat of our pants
a
all day.
little bit. I guess for context too, we are currently in. I'm calling this New York. I'm in New York currently. Where are we specifically? Not too specifically, but we're in.
Not my address, but Long Island City, Queens.
Yes. Okay, great. It's my first time. I've been subwaying around for like a week now, and this is my first time in this area, so I was making sure to snag some pics.
Nice.
Either way, I am here now.
Sounds of New York City.
Sounds you may be hearing. It's just New York, everybody. Okay, Luna. I will. Let's do a little bit of foundational work on you here.
Oh,
As
okay.
For those that are less familiar with you, you're I think of you as an actor,
Mm-hmm.
but you are so much more. What can we add to that list of? So I guess maybe I'll just touch on. Okay, I'll just hype you up a little bit here.
Okay.
Okay, so you're an actor.
Yes.
You I don't know. This isn't the proper word, but like you do jiu-jitsu. So you do have a stunts background as well. Is that?
I do not. I'm trained in Muay Thai, and I've been doing jiu-jitsu for about 8 months. So still learning, still trying to get the hang of it.
Yes. Okay. Great. You also have a background as a social worker.
Mm-hmm.
You have a background as a competitive tennis player.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what you have a master? How many? I don't know. You have one master's.
One
two
master's in marriage and family therapy.
Okay, great. Is there
Yeah.
anything else we should throw out at the beginning here on?
I think I'm done
resume?
collecting titles and things at the moment.
Okay.
I have a lot on my plate. I mean,
No,
I can
that's
always
fine.
get a bigger plate, right?
That's
I'm also writing as well.
also a writer.
Yeah.
Okay, writing, therapy, social work.
I don't do therapy and social work anymore. Now I get therapy.
Yes. Okay. Well, I guess as far as the experience in which you have in this world. Okay, not that
Mhm.
you practice. Okay, so you know more.
I no longer
You've
practice.
officially retired.
I've retired.
And how long ago was the?
Ugh.
Let's go to that first, shall
Yeah. The timeline is a little bit fuzzy. Um, I've been out of practice for a while. So I got my master's in 2009, and then I did I worked for about a year outside at a substance abuse agency. So I did that for a year, and I almost had a celebrity client, and I'm like, do I say who this person is? I don't know, but she's very well known. Like, it's not going to be that hard to guess. And she was filming a reality show at the time, and they asked me if I wanted to be on it, and I was like, do I have to be? Because I was a new therapist at the time, and the director thought that I would be a good fit for her because I was on the younger side, and he felt that I could relate to her. She's somebody that, might not find me older and jaded, but then of course she never showed up for an appointment, and that was a huge relief for me because I didn't know how I was going to be edited, and I didn't want them to make me look like this new person that was in over her head and was very inexperienced, and this would be how people would remember me as a therapist. I'm like, that's not how I would want to launch my career in this mental health field, but
Okay, so that was your first kind of almost taste at like being in front of the camera. That's how
Yes.
it came into your world, and that's interesting. Okay, so just to regurgitate that back, just to make
Right.
sure I understand, is a celebrity you were going to be a celebrity's therapist potentially, and because that
Mm-hmm.
person had a show, they were going to record the therapy sessions
Yeah, yeah.
and put them on TV.
Yes, yes.
That's not very helpful
And
for.
this would be my first year of doing therapy. Can you imagine if, they actually put me on TV and I had to give her therapy with the whole crew?
Yeah, that's a little.
And people would watch that because, like I was following her life.
That sounds a little stressful. A lot of
Yeah.
pressure,
Yeah.
and then probably a lot of opinions after the fact on the
Mm-hmm.
diet of what you. Yeah, it sounds. Yeah, you. Okay, great. So
So,
you dodged that.
so after I worked there for about a year, I did social work at I did intensive in
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I did intensive in-home counseling for at-risk youth who were truant or incorrigible. So I did that for 6 years.
Who are truant?
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 Yeah, meaning they skip school, they don't want to go to
Mm.
school. If I'm lucky, sometimes, they do both and I have to address both issues. And it was a very difficult job. And there were some clients that were very receptive, but most of them weren't. Like I was the last person that they wanted to see. There was this one family who I remember ringing their doorbell and I saw their car in the driveway. I know you're home. And I remember seeing the light like just going off completely. And I'm like, come on. And no one answered. I called and left a message and,
So even the family didn't want.
mm-hmm.
Okay, it was a
Yeah,
team
because
effort.
a lot of times these kids have been born into the system. So by the time that I come around, I'm probably their 12th therapist at that point in time. So like they've gone through a string of people trying to help them, and at this point they're really over it.
Yeah, I imagine if you're skipping school, you're skipping therapy
I
and
guess it makes
skipping
well, that's why
everything
we go
else.
to their homes. We're like you live there.
Yeah, you
We
can't.
stalk them essentially.
Yeah.
I go to their schools, I go to their homes, and I'm like, if you don't like being at home for whatever reason, we can go grab some ice cream. So I really meet them with where they're at. And at one point, that was under the bed for this one kid. He wouldn't get out, so I crawled underneath, and we did our therapy session there.
Whatever it takes. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty intense.
And we did had a breakthrough, and then for a couple of weeks, and then this is terrible. I don't remember what happened with that case. I think his case escalated where he needed more services than what we could have provided. He needed psychiatric care. So when the case goes further uh, than just outpatient, services, then we have to step out because we don't provide, you know,
Yeah.
we don't, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It goes as far as it can go with us, and then they require other people to step in and help them.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm trying to think okay, I guess so you're doing that sort of work for 6 years
6 years, yeah.
and oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, like, it really helped me as an actor because I really had to get into these people's heads and really understand their point of view, even if I don't agree with them. And I try to find, redeeming qualities about them, their strengths, because it's so easy to see. Because when I get the report, like, I see everything that goes on, and a lot of it is not positive. And so, like, as an actor, it really helps me do a deep dive into a character's POV just from having to meet so many characters over the years in
Yeah.
real life.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that where it's like, okay, here's what do they call it? It's not a I'm thinking like rap sheet. Here's your rap sheet
Mm-hmm.
and especially when it's a child,
Yeah.
it's you understand. I mean, that's the whole job is you understand that these children are in certain positions that if only there was some support
Mm-hmm.
and some encouragement in some areas, then maybe
Right.
you could turn this around because kids or kid, I don't know. It's a weird, yeah. So I could understand that it's like, all right, let's find the humanity in this person,
Right,
and that
yeah.
equates to the same as a
And they're a product
character's.
of their environment, and the people that they surround themselves with. We know this.
Yeah. Okay. So, at what point were you looking for, how did act, so you have, okay, so this potential reality show guest
hmm
star role comes
That was
around.
not what made me want to be an actor.
No, I'm just saying, so that came around at a point
Yeah.
that was pre-social work, or is that
Pre-social work, yeah.
okay? So that had already occurred.
hmm
At what point does actor start, or like what was the transitional? Yeah, how does?
Yeah, I really hope this one person doesn't see this. But, we we had a real, it was one of those breakups that just completely turns you inside out, like, if you will. Like, I was at a really low point. I had a lot of feelings and I needed some place to put them. So this was when I think I was looking for a job at this point, and I thought I'll just pick up a new hobby and let me try acting. I've always enjoyed it in school when I was doing it. I remember drama classes being some of my favorite classes. And I had stage fright, I had a fear of public speaking, but I really enjoyed it. But it also terrified me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
So I was taking classes during the weekend, and I was living out on Long Island at the time, and I thought, okay, this will give me a chance to head into the city, enjoy this acting class, like, meet friends, meet new people, and, give myself something to do. And then I remembered my coaches at the time saying, "Oh, we're going to bring in a manager. You should meet her." And I thought, I don't know if I want to do this for real. I'm just trying to process a breakup
Yeah,
right
this
now.
is an outlet for, yeah, this is a,
Yeah,
yeah,
an outlet for, for the
emotion.
turmoil that I was going through. And so I remembered showing up. I didn't have a headshot. I had a piece of paper with my name and like contact information on it. And she was like, "What's this?" And I'm like,
My
"What?"
resume.
I'm like, "This is what I have." And she said, "Okay, let me see you do your scene." And I did a scene from Law and Order. And then afterwards, she gives me like a look, and she was like, "I really liked what you did. Are you getting headshots done?" And I'm like, "Oh, yes, I already have an appointment." I didn't, but I said, "Oh, yeah, I already have an appointment. You should get them next week or something." And she said, "Okay." And I just started working with her.
She took you on.
She took me on. I'm no longer with her, but, it made me believe that maybe this is something that I can do, and let me stick with this and see what happens.
So was this manager, was it a commercial manager, or I don't know, I forget, managers are narrative and commercial, right? There's two different, like, talent, or is it the same? I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, usually with managers, they manage your career if you do modeling, print work, commercial work, TV, film, theater,
So it's all the above.
all of the above. So she
Okay.
was getting me appointments for pretty much everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So then it turned real.
It turned realer, I guess. No, no, it's real. Like she's a legit manager. Like,
No, no.
no,
I
it
meant
was
more.
real, but yeah.
I meant more in your head, is like, because like you were saying, is I don't know if I even want to meet this person, because then it's not just an outlet
Right,
anymore.
because I
It's
haven't done anything, like all I did was class. Like at that point, I haven't done any short films. I literally had zero experience on set. And I thought, what am I doing meeting this person with absolutely nothing on my resume and no picture?
yeah. Okay. So how did it go from there? We all want to know.
So, I was also self-submitting myself too. And, even after 11 years later, that's something that I still do. Now
Hmm.
I have a manager, I have an agent, but I still look out for jobs for myself because, like no one's going to care more about your career than you. that's the bottom line. And yes,
Yeah.
they do care, but like they do have I'm not the only one on their roster, and I don't expect to get 100% of their attention and their time. But in terms of the trajectory, I remember there was this event called I think it was Actor Fest. I don't know. Because at that point, I was 6 months into acting, and I said, I want to join SAG. That's the next thing I want to do. And I got an agent like within 6 months. No, not an agent, the manager representation. And so I remember there was this event called Actor Fest in New York City, and a friend of mine had said, "Oh, it's really hit or miss, but you're so new, like just go and meet people and get used to networking, I guess." And so I remembered turning in my headshot and resume, and then from there, based on your picture and resume, they assigned you to meet with I guess they either assign you a dramatic or a comedic scene, and I think we got to choose because I'm like, oh, I'm not funny, I'm doing dramatic, like that takes care of the other thing that gives me anxiety. And so I remember doing a dramatic scene for NBC. And I remembered one of the casting directors, she was writing like a note on my resume, and I thought, oh, I think that's a good sign. I mean, I hope she's writing something good. I mean, if it's bad, like she probably wouldn't like know. But
Yeah, yeah.
and so like a month after that event, I auditioned for 30 Rock for a guest starring role.
Oh my.
I mean, I didn't get it, but it was really, really cool. I
That's
remember
cool.
walking into the building, and it was the biggest thing I've auditioned ever. And she was like, "Yeah, I remembered you from Actor Fest. You did your scene. I really liked you, and I thought you'd be a great fit for this." And I couldn't believe it.
That's that's all. I mean, yeah, getting in those rooms,
Yeah.
that's kind of the whole being that it happened so quickly too is kind of
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it was processing that for you, but that's fun
Yeah, I
at
was
the
really
very
excited. I
least.
got coaching for it, and I really prepped, and I made sure, like I looked at the part and I prepared as much as I could, and I had fun in there. And I thought, okay, like it gave me more confidence that, I got to audition for a real casting director, thought that, I was someone that could audition for a real TV show.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. I have a couple of thoughts in there.
Yeah.
One is how, being that you mentioned that the fear of like public speaking
Right.
and how does that
I know, so this is the perfect profession for me.
so how did a you over how did auditioning feel? Did it feel different than the public speaking fear, and you're able to do it a little bit? How did you approach that one? And before I forget,
Hmm.
two, I forget the other one, so
Okay, I
I
still I
remember now.
still get nervous, like I don't think it's something that ever goes away, and I'm like, I need to make friends with it and be okay with it, because my acting coach Anthony Apeson would say, if you're not nervous for your auditions, I would be he was saying I would be afraid for you, because if you're nervous, that means you're ready for battle. That means, like you're ready to go. But if you're too relaxed, then you can fall on your face, because you're not in the right frame of mind if you're too chill.
Yeah,
So it's something that has worked for me, and it has worked against me, because if I'm able to put their nerves into the piece of what I'm doing, even if it's a confident person, they're not always confident. They could be doing
yeah,
that one thing that makes them feel like, oh, ooh, okay, this is a new experience for me. So,
hmm
I try to put it into the work some way, somehow.
But yeah, you're embracing it across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and you're able to channel that and use it, which is good.
Mm-hmm. And I remembered a time when like I was doing a show, and the thing about monologues is that if you fumble, if you forget, no one is saving you. You don't have the luxury of another actor on stage moving the scene along or help you, pick up the line. It's all you. And I remember dropping a line when I did theater, and it was like halfway to the monologue. Like it was my first show. Like it,
Mm-hmm.
like there was a lot of nerves there, and it wasn't even at the end. I just, like I owned it, and I'm like, well, this is where I'm ending the scene. And I looked out into the beyond because, my character is, like after she delivers a monologue, she's thinking about what she said. So I'm like, I'm going to look out into the beyond, and this is where I'm going to end it. And I did. And then, they were like, okay, I guess, after a really long pause, they moved the scene along. And they cued in the lights and everything, and like I was such a mess. But then I did a play. Was it last year? 2021? No, this was pre-pandemic. Like I have no concept of time. But I did another play in Raleigh called Junk, and I had even longer monologues this time.
Mm-hmm.
And
And you were
not
ready.
once did I drop anything. I remembered everything. I over prepped, and everything stuck. So I'm like, okay.
It's like I did it.
So that's a long-winded answer to your question of how I deal with nerves and public speaking.
Yeah, over preparation is helpful tool.
Yeah, you over prepare and then you let it go and let it, be what it wants to be the day of, with especially for theater, you have a director giving you notes and giving you the shape of what they want to see.
Yeah, at the same time, to steal a spotlight for a second here.
Mm-hmm. Go
No, I was okay. My story here is before directing.
Mm-hmm.
Your story, okay, I'm doing my own long loop back to
Okay,
why.
no, go for it.
Is I wanted to be an actor first, and because I didn't know any better at the time, and I remember I did like scene study class for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
I did a couple
In LA?
in before moving to Los Angeles, thankfully. It was back in like Reno, Nevada, like
Okay.
just non-film town. There's really no acting opportunities
Mm-hmm.
outside of print work and radio ads and commercial stuff. So when the smallest auditions would come up, even like practice auditions for class,
Mm-hmm.
I almost have like trauma from it was the nerves were so heightened on my side that
Mm-hmm.
like I would go and like I remember even just like one of my first auditions, you just walk, they call you into the room.
Yeah.
There's like two people that I even know that are sitting there, which almost makes it worse. I don't know. And it's like, okay, cool. And then the person's running the camera, and I don't even know what a mark is. I'm like, I don't understand this T on the ground. I don't know how to stand on it. I don't know what my frame is. I don't know where my eye line's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just wing it and I just do my lines. And the compliments that I would get were like, I think you did a really good job
Awesome.
with presenting the nervous nature of this character.
You're like, yes.
And I'm like, that wasn't acting, but thank you for the compliment on that. I'll go now.
Aw.
No, so I just think about like if I had continued to pursue it, I think I'd have to adopt something like what you're talking about
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like it's just always there,
Yeah.
and I wasn't able to control it. Like I felt like it was overruling. I didn't even, yeah. Either way, I didn't learn to embrace it yet, but it makes me think about my scary times trying. Yes.
But you did a great job.
They said they look either way. No, I don't.
You're like,
I
it's
don't
not for,
buy
I
it.
mean, you tried it, you realized it wasn't for you, and then
Wasn't
you
for
wanted to
me.
pursue something else.
Yeah. So yeah, I have that's a whole other story. But the other thing I wanted to ask too was speaking of self-submitting,
Mm-hmm.
even to this day, even with
Mm-hmm.
representation.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I know I have actor friends that have managers that tell them like that their self-submitting is getting in the way of the manager doing their job. It's like
Mm.
I'm submitting you to what I think you're like I'm doing I am
Yeah.
submitting you. So please, like you're hurting yourself by like I've
Interesting.
heard that take,
Yeah,
and
it depends on the rep. It depends on the person.
I mean I don't buy it. But
Mm.
so I was hope yeah.
I've never ran into that issue personally. And if anything, they're like, "Okay, let us know if you hear anything back." That's usually the feedback that I get.
So then if you do get something
Mm-hmm.
and you notify your reps
100% right away.
and then they're like,
Because I give them all my money anyway. Like, like even if I find something on my own, I have reps.
yeah.
I still work with them. So yeah, they get their commission, whether it's through them or something that I find on my own.
So there's never any pushback on like
No,
why did you submit for this?
no.
You're better than this or anything like
Unless it's a
that.
project that they feel, is not helpful at this point in my career, but usually I'm very selective with what I submit.
Okay. Okay.
So something that I feel passionate about and something that speaks to me, I'll
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like you got to do something for the occasional paycheck.
Or even just to I would assume even just to keep the practice, like keep the muscles
Yeah.
going. It's like I haven't like I don't know. Yeah, like I'll do something like on my side I'll direct stuff that doesn't matter. I'll put money into stuff just to so that way when the stuff does come up it's your practice. I don't know if actors do that too. No. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and also if it's a project that speaks to you, then as long as you're staying creative doing something, like you'll meet people behind the project as well. So it's this fun collaborative experience no matter, like whether that's why you gotta especially if it's low paying or
It's relationships.
yeah, it's relationships, but also you get to be creative. I remember during the pandemic, I worked on this, low budget project, and we were all so excited to be on set. Like we were cooped up, and the director and producer, like she made sure that everything like was such a well-oiled machine. She took care of us from start to end, and all of us were just so excited to be creating. So like I love being around that energy.
That's yeah,
And
that
it didn't pay us much, but we were like, "Ah, yes, we get to be on set again after just being cooped up in our homes for so long."
oh,
And
this was like
yeah,
post COVID kind of thing.
and the energy was very infectious. We were all like just starved to do something, you know. Yeah.
I was there. Oh, I wasn't literally there, but I was in the same. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a it's nice to be like I know that happens a lot with like on location shoots. Like I don't know if this was on location.
Yeah, this was on
Yeah,
location.
like that. Those are the best shoots. Like you get to live and breathe the dream. Really.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Next. um, okay. What I want to ask is, you have this nice post uh on Instagram,
Mhm.
which I dug, and it's the "I didn't book it"
Oh,
post.
yes.
Um,
I couldn't believe that post went viral.
did it go viral?
It did. I've had friends, messaging me, and one of them had said, "Did you know that Jeremy O'Harris um, reposted this?" And I'm like, "Are you serious? Like he's, the writer of Slave Play."
I
And
don't,
what?
I don't know the one. I don't know the one.
Um,
But yeah. So people, yeah. I mean, okay.
and I couldn't, at first I'm like, don't want to post something like this. And I thought, like, I'm feeling a lot of feelings. I'm just gonna post this and be completely honest because we hear so many booked it stories, and a lot of our stories are the I did not book it because that is usually what happened. So I'm like, I felt like sharing it today. And I did, and I didn't expect it to
To
get reshared, reposted,
to
and
resonate, yeah.
yeah, and I was shocked, you know? I
Yeah.
really was shocked. And I think people just appreciated the transparency because they relate more to not booking something versus being on set.
Hmm. So I guess just for clarification for those that are not familiar with, I don't know, do you want to come
Oh, yes.
in?
So there's a thing on social media that every time an actor auditions for something and then they book, they want to celebrate their their booking. And it's so hard to book a job these days. Like, I consider it a perk if you can book one job a year. Like, that's in my book,
Hmm.
that's pretty
Hmm.
good. And if you're lucky enough to book it more than once, then that's incredible. And so whenever actors book a job, they would share a headshot and then write the text "booked it" over their picture to, um, I guess it's a social media flex that a lot of people do. I haven't really done that on mine, because for me, I don't know, to each their own. But for me, it wasn't something that I liked doing.
Hmm.
I also run an audition taping service. So like I'm used to shouting out like other people's booked it stories. So I feel more comfortable doing that for them, and I'll do the booked it for me under my business account but not on my personal account. And then for the did not booked it, I posted it on my account just because I'm like, let me keep it real
Yeah, yeah.
in between all
Cause,
the other
'cause-
photos.
yeah, because this wasn't a typical didn't book it. Like
Yeah.
you mentioned, there's a lot of emotion there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know I read it, because this was one that was like this was more of an extensive process, or it was a pretty big.
Yeah, it was an open call. This was something that I self-submitted.
Mm,
And
mm-hmm.
I thought, like, it's an open call. Are they even going to look at this? They're getting thousands of submissions from all over the world. I mean, that's the beauty of having an open call, like you open the door and anyone who wants to can walk right through
Yeah,
it.
you're buying a lottery ticket. Yeah.
Yeah, and but I really liked the role, and I was actually in Thailand at the time, and I remember putting up like a sheet like
Yeah.
on the wall because there wasn't really a wall. It was just like a glass wall situation. And I thought, oh, I can't film in front of that, but that's where the light was coming from. So sheet. And I did a couple of takes for scenes 1 and 2, and I felt really good about it and sent it in. And I guess like 2 weeks later, I got the call back, and I shared everything that went down in the post. Like, I had a meltdown right before. Like, all the lines just left me, and I'm like, I'm gonna
Oh
fuck up
yes,
in front of
yes.
all these people. Like, I worked so hard, and now I'm gonna fuck it all up, and they're gonna not want to see me again. But I did what I wanted in the room. It wasn't perfect, but I managed my nerves. I Good thing I had the meltdown before, and I
Mm-hmm,
guess that
mm-hmm.
calmed me down. And then it didn't go my way, and that's the nature of the business. That's what we sign up for.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, this was a okay, yeah. I've heard, yes, that's, but yeah, the didn't book it is
Yeah,
is more, yeah, like you said, booking is hard,
it is.
acting is
Yeah,
hard, the hustle
it's hard.
is
You gotta
tough.
love it
Gotta love it.
because you are unemployed 90% of the time.
90%. Thailand.
Hmm.
You were in Thailand.
For 3 months, yeah.
Okay. This was, if I recall correctly, based on my notes I just looked at, this was a break. This was like a full escape from. Was this designed to be an escape from acting, or
Yeah,
was
like
that the
it was an
intention?
acting break, a life break. My dad has dementia, and I mean, the running joke is, how is he still alive? Like, it's not supposed to be funny, but we're like, how is this guy not dead? Because we thought he would die so many times. And in 2021, I went home and stayed there for most of the year because the doctor in March of 2021 had told my family to make funeral arrangements. That was really hard to hear, and I got on a plane a few days after, and took care of all my affairs, and I'm lucky that I have very understanding reps, and I told them, I need a break. I don't want to be auditioning for the next 6 months. And they said, okay. No one gave me a hard time. I wasn't dropped by any of my agents. They really understood, and I took that time and I stayed with with my mom, dad, and brother, and he's still alive right now.
Your dad.
He's still alive, yeah.
Yeah.
And so my mom ended up kicking me out. She was like, you need to live your life. You abandoned your husband. You want to start a family. So, like, this is what your dad would have wanted. He would not want you to stay at home, be sad, and be around and put everything on hold. So she said, please go live your life. And so that's why my husband and I went to Thailand for 3 months. It was during the pandemic, so we stayed in luxury resorts for nothing.
I've heard good things about Thailand. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was this beautiful hotel, and barely anybody stayed in it. And we asked how much they wanted for the room for. I was like, how much is a day? And they said $50. And so I asked, how much is the month? And she said $600. So we stayed on this beautiful beachfront property. The beach was like a 20-second walk from our hotel.
Yeah.
So we were there for 3 months, and then I came back. And actually, when I was there, like, my manager had said, there's an audition that I would like to send to you. Look at the material. If you're not feeling it, if you're not up to auditioning, let me know. She gave me the choice, and it was a really good role. I had fun with it. There was like a Q&A part that took more time than the actual audition itself. And she said, you're really thoughtful with this. And what was interesting is that when you don't audition for a while, like when I did get that appointment, I was so hungry. Like, I couldn't wait to sink my teeth into it, if you will. And so when the interview questions came, I was very thoughtful. I took my time with every piece of the assignment. And she said, like, I'm really glad that you did this. I didn't hear anything back. But, and then I submitted for that open call.
Right.
For the did not booked it post, and did that in Thailand. And then I did the open call here. Via Zoom.
Yeah,
I didn't invite people in.
So how I'm assuming Thailand was a success. Like, were you able to recharge batteries? And
Yeah.
I've never done an escape like that before, but it sounds
Me neither.
So it was
Actually, no, I have. I went to Thailand for 2 months, like, before the pandemic. I don't know what I'm talking
before
about.
the pandemic.
Yeah, which was a way more expensive vacation at that time.
Yeah. Okay, so you've done this sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, but it sounds healthy, especially with the stresses of life.
Yeah, because it made me miss acting so much more. So when I did come back, like, it gave me this, like, newfound hunger.
Do you think, have you, I'm thinking on behalf of, like, actor friends that are struggling through, because, it's, again, I'll say
I'm
it
still
again.
in the shits. I'm still struggling.
Sure. Well, when it gets difficult,
Yeah.
is the break from acting as effective if you don't change the environment? Like, if you would you be as hungry for it if you stayed in town and did something else versus, like, I could like Thailand is escape altogether.
Right.
But if you're I'm trying to weigh that. I'm like, I don't know if
Yeah,
you've taken breaks like that before.
Yeah. Anytime you walk away from something and you take a break, like, you either really miss the thing or you don't.
Yeah.
And I found that I did miss acting. I did. Like, even the first month, I'm like, oh, feels weird not standing in front of my gray backdrop saying lines. Well, acting is more than saying lines, but you know what I mean? I'm like, I miss this, but nope, let's be on island time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it happens with things that you love as well. Like, I do jujitsu, and if I remember just being so busy with my taping business that I wouldn't get to train for 7 days and then I would miss it. I'm like, oh, I miss training. But when I came back, I was more energized. Like, I'm like, I was less tired, because my body wasn't going through the wear and tear of, training if I were to do it, a couple times a week because it is really hard on the body. So when I went back in, like my body felt fresh, my mind felt
Mm-hmm.
fresh, and I was good
Mm-hmm.
to go. So I imagine that, the same thing with acting, like taking that break even if you are still in town. Like I would still, miss it. And I
Yeah,
think it's good to do that as well,
it's
because
hard.
otherwise like your whole life can't be about that one thing.
I agree. I agree. It's hard. I mentioned
Yeah,
this. It's hard to take breaks.
it is because you have FOMO. You're like,
Yeah.
I have to stay in it. Like, if I miss one day, it could be the one day. It's like, this industry will be there. Like jujitsu, the mats will be there. No one's going anywhere. It's not like this
Yeah.
profession is gonna die. It's not like, the
Yeah.
gym is gonna close.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I feel for the actors. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad that the post did well. I guess come back to that. Yeah, being honest and open is nice, and I like it. And yeah. All right. Okay, well, we're getting already close to
Oh,
this
wow.
length.
Okay.
I want to ask
Yeah.
about this should be a man, this is there's so I have so much I have on my list, and we'll have
I
to
know. I'll shorten my
no,
answers.
no, no. This is more of we'll have to do a part two in a year or something.
Okay.
Okay. I'm curious about. Okay, let's hear. Since we're on the topic of acting, I'll just keep
Yeah.
it in this vein. I know you had a cool story about when you were working at the Cheesecake Factory. You were working at the
Oh,
Cheesecake Factory and you got
yes.
some advice
Mm-hmm. From a manager.
from I have an agent listed. Maybe it was a manager, but
I think she was a manager.
okay.
She was a manager.
So I don't. My note here says studying with Anthony Abeson and the Cheesecake Factory advice is.
Mm.
I'm curious about what that. I don't know what the if you stated what the advice was in the thingy.
Yes. So I was 28 when I was working at the Cheesecake Factory, and I remember dropping off. I remember the name of the salad. It was a Chinese chicken salad for one of the two tops. And one of the servers came up to me and told me that the guests at that table wanted to talk to me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure I dropped off the right salad. And
Okay.
I'm freaking out. And I go over and, asked her if everything was okay. And then she asked if I was an actor. And I said, no, but I've taken some acting classes in school, like not professionally. And then she said, okay, if you're interested, here's my information. I'm a manager and I would love to meet with you. And I thought, oh my gosh, like you hear these stories, but you don't think they could actually happen to you. So I remember doing my hair and I show up and she was like, how old are you? I'm sorry to ask this, but you look so different when you worked at the Cheesecake Factory. I'm like, what do you mean? And she was like, you had no makeup on, your hair was in a ponytail. I thought you were a teenager. And I'm like, I'm 28.
Oh.
And she was like, oh, okay. And she gave me some sides to read. And when I was done, she said, okay, you don't have any acting experience. I'm like, not professionally. She was like, you don't have any acting experience. I'm like, okay. Okay, you're, like, this is what you do. And she was like, oh, you have a great look. If you are interested in pursuing this professionally, there's one teacher I would recommend and one teacher only, Anthony Abeson. But he's not going to take just anybody on. He takes people who've had training, who've been on set. So train with somebody else and then audition for him. So I did that. I worked with uh, these coaches that I found for a year, and then I went and I auditioned for him and I stayed with him for 5 years until he kicked me out. Now there's a 2-year rule. He doesn't want people becoming too dependent on him. He was like, there are other teachers, don't just be comfortable and stay with me.
Yeah,
There's still other things that you need to learn.
I know I'm great, but
But he's actually also humble enough to say, and I'm also not everyone's cup of tea.
yeah, no, nobody
And I
is.
thought that was awesome.
Well, that's true for everybody. But yeah, no, for sure. Okay, so where was this? Was this in New York or
So
was
this was
this?
on Long Island in
Okay,
Westbury, the Cheesecake Factory, right?
yeah, the
Yeah,
Cheesecake Factory. So you got
I
scouted
got
there,
scouted.
and then they're like, oh, actually, we're looking for something else, and then
Yeah.
but if you want to do this, it's like, well, you brought me here. What do you mean I didn't come? No, it's yeah, but it all okay. So that's it. Because I know finding a proper instructor is like,
It's such a nightmare
yeah, I don't.
because it's through like trial and error, and everyone can make a beautiful looking professional website. And I've had great teachers. I've been lucky, and teachers that I didn't vibe with, I left immediately. Like you can
Hmm.
kind of get a feel for, does this person know what they're talking about? Is there a value with what they
Hmm.
have to offer? You can kind of.
Is that like a 1 month sampler kind of thing, or is it like 2 sessions, or?
Most studios and teachers do offer a trial. So, not a trial.
Well, I mean, like you sign up with them, assuming you're gonna continue on, but then
Yeah,
once
like
you
my,
don't
my,
like
my
them,
head is in like the gym membership. I'm
yeah,
like trial, like what are they called?
it's
Like,
like when you subscribe to
yeah, you
Disney
you you
Plus or
could sit
something.
in a class, audit, trial, audit.
Yes.
So a lot of studios and places do offer, class audits, and I think you, you know, especially if you don't know them, audit, see if that's a
If
space
yeah.
space and community that you'd like to be in. Because I've done a couple, I've audited a couple of places, and some I liked and some I didn't, and I think that's a good way to
It's,
get a taste of
it's
it
good.
without fully committing.
Yeah.
And if you hate it, then like you could get out after a month if they require
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
4-week billing cycle.
Two quick
Yes.
questions.
2 quick answers.
Why? Oh, this is the dumbest question ever. I just solved it in my head. You have a moon emoji in your Instagram
Hmm.
name, and I'm like, why is that there? But then I just solved it.
You
It's,
did.
it's Luna. Wow, I'm
Like the
dumb.
moon.
I'm so dumb. All right, next. On your website,
Yes.
um, you have what you call a speed reel,
Mm-hmm.
which is the first time I've ever seen that term myself.
Mm.
So I wanted to ask speed reel versus demo reel and what your experience and advice was on how you developed that.
Mm.
And yeah, because I'm that stuff is always changing, and I'm not.
Everything is ever evolving and changing. You know,
What's the latest?
what's the latest? It's going to be a different answer depending on who you ask.
Okay.
Like my former agents believe that a master reel should have all your best scenes, and it could be more than 2 minutes. So they're okay with your reel being 5 or 6 minutes. But a lot of casting directors, I've done their workshops, and this question comes up time and time again, and they have said 2 minutes max of your best scenes. And then I don't know, I just did a quick like 1 minute thing. I saw that somewhere, and I'm like, oh, I like this. Let me try this out.
So did you coin the term speed reel?
No, I did not. I do not take credit for that.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because I don't know. Because I hear like, oh, actually, what they're looking for now is you want clips. Like instead of doing a reel,
Individual clips. Yes, I've
here's my
heard that
30
as
second
well.
drama clip, and here's my comedy clip. Because people
Yes.
don't want to sit through 3 clips in one clip. You want to have them separate clips. And it's
Hmm.
like what? So I feel again, acting. This is the information you're being thrown is just
A demo reel, like 2 minutes. I just
sure.
have that on there for my personal like website. I think on my Actors Access, there is a master reel on there that's more than.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's just a quick sampler. I just did it.
Great. That was it. A simple questions to end. I do want to know, I guess just for the sake, is what, because I like to throw a little out for what the future holds.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you pushing for? What's the latest? What's the current goals you've set out for yourself? Just maybe specific or general, or maybe there's none. It's okay.
Yeah, I guess like this interview, I'm just flying by the seat of my
You're doing
pants, if
great.
you
You're
will,
doing great.
I welcome the opportunities, and I mean, I'm just a professional auditioner at the
Yeah.
end of the day, but I am, haven't been writing lately, but I have a feature in mind that I started writing, and then two pilots,
Okay.
stories that I really want to tell and want to share.
Nice. Yeah, because I know, I don't know. Okay, great. Yeah, lovely. All the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, yeah, so this is a little, I'll call it the speed conversation
Yeah.
versus this. Yeah, no, so last thing,
Okay.
'cause I got nothing else, and I don't know. I have plenty more. I have
Mm-hmm.
plenty more, but we're out of time,
Yeah, you have to go
unfortunately.
to dinner.
I have dinner to go to in New
What
York
are you eating?
City. I'm exploring my heritage, getting some Spanish food.
Ooh, where?
I have no idea.
Okay.
My cousin booked it, and they're excited to take me.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What neighborhood is it in?
I don't even know. I know nothing. I'm just going to meet him, and then
Oh, and then
he'll take
okay.
us. Yeah, yeah. So
Gotcha.
so I'm getting some Spanish food. He's listed off some entrees and stuff we're gonna
That
be
are
eating,
must-haves,
and
okay?
I'm like, I don't know what any of that is. How dare I? So, but I'll be exploring the Spanish culture a little bit.
Amazing.
Yes. Um, okay, last question. For people that want to follow and be in the know on what Luna 2 is up to, where should people do that? Where can they do that?
My Instagram. So it's Luna Tieu. So it's LunaTieu if you're curious about what I'm up to for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Jesus, underselling. No, for sure. I feel you. Okay. Yeah, so follow on Instagram because I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have YouTube. I don't know, TikTok, whatever.
Oh
Either
no,
way.
I don't do any of those. I think one app for me is more than enough, and it's,
Plus,
if anything, it's like a personal scrapbook of my travels. And
yeah.
when I look down at my grid, it makes me smile because I'm like, oh, look at all the
Look at all
fun
the
things that you're doing, and you're finding joy in your life.
and all the booked it posts. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, just kidding.
There's zero booked it posts on my personal Instagram.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Wow, we did it.
Yeah, we
You
did it.
survived.
I
You made it.
know.
Okay. All right.
All
Bye,
right. Thanks
everybody.
for watching.
Bum, 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 bum.